I thought, hello, everyone's gone. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I know I say it every time, but do you know what? Paul Church is amazing, and it's amazing because of all you wonderful people that attend. Seriously, and it's a great honour for me to be able to facilitate meetings like this alongside wonderful guests. And unfortunately they cancelled today, so we've got Ayrasha instead.
It's a good job I love you guys.
I know, deep down, about 6 foot love. Ayrasha's a great friend to the church. She comes up to us from Exeter, staying here in the church, taking today's service, and will also be taking private sittings this afternoon. Ayrasha, we're looking forward to your work today. Everybody here, please remember this is your service. This is the time you are creating this atmosphere, this energy, this environment, simply by your presence. And as we do so, we are inviting in our friends, our guides, our inspirers, our helpers in the spirit world, but most importantly, our loved ones. Because most people, when we first come to a spiritualist church, why? Because we wish to keep that connection going. And we wish to continue to get that evidence that life and love are eternal. And I say are, there's no question about it. Where we walk, our loved ones walk with us. So this is this time of reunion and celebration about life. You know, spiritualists, we're not all about death. Because when we know we live forever, look at the value it brings the life of today. So enjoy the service. Thank you. I'd now like to hand over for Ayrasha for the opening prayer, please.
If you'd like to close your eyes and go into that space wherever you perceive your God or Spirit to be. Gracious Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we thank you for bringing us here together this morning. We humbly ask that you help each and every person here this morning leave all the trials and tribulations of their normal daily lives and the baggage outside of the church this morning to allow this time just to commune with the spirit world. I humbly ask that you use me as a clear channel for whatever purpose is needed this morning, and the messages that do come through go to the people that most need them. I leave this service in your care and in your name, which is love. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ayrasha. And if you care to now, please join in with saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not when in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. And we now turn our hearts, our minds, our intent towards the art of healing. And as I always say, healing is known by another name, and that name is love. When we work and act in that energy of love, we are healers. We are helping, we are uplifting, we are consoling. We are bringing about that comfort to that person, be it through word or thought or deed. So during this time, we invite you to send out those thoughts to those people you know, the environment, the world, our world leaders, wherever you are drawn, because it is your divine right to work within your own power. We also invite you during this time, if there is anybody in particular that you would like those thoughts to go out to, simply raise your hand. When I point to you, please just call out their name. That is all that is required. The presence, the power, and the intelligence of spirit know the need and will act in accordance with the plans. So just take this time now, just these few moments, just to set aside self and to work in that energy of love, of compassion, of healing. Thank you. Divine and gracious Spirit, God of our own understanding, we thank you for this time and this reminder that we can all act as healers. Keep us mindful for those opportunities to lend that helping hand, to be that listening ear, to be that smile as a stranger in the street. All these simple acts uplift and bring around the presence and truth of life and love. Amen. Now I'd like to invite Ayrasha for your reading, followed by your address.
Thank you. My reading's called Love Never Dies. And there's a quote from the Bible at the top which says, "I will declare that your love stands firm forever, that you established your faithfulness in heaven itself." And that comes from the Psalms. My mother had not been feeling well for a couple of days. We all assumed it was a flu bug, summer thing, that was going round. Mum insisted she would be fine in a few days. I noticed she'd started wearing a wristwatch that was in need of repair. The hands were permanently set at 1 o'clock. "Mum, you have other watches. Why are you wearing this one?" The watch had sentimental value, she explained. It was the first watch my father had ever given it to her for their first Christmas. "Let me take it to the jeweller's, have it fixed for you." She declined my offer. The watch remained on her wrist day and night. Mum was not feeling well after a week and Dad wanted to take her to the doctor's. She refused. That evening, when I was preparing to go to bed, Mum walked into my room to kiss me goodnight. I asked her if she'd make my favourite breakfast in the morning. She said, "If I'm here, honey." "Are you going away?" I asked. Chills ran through me as I waited for her answer. But she smiled and walked out of the bedroom. I tried to banish the unsettling thoughts from my mind as I struggled to make sense of what Mum had said, and eventually I dozed off to sleep. I was then awakened by a voice, and Dad stood there in the darkness. "I think Mum's gone," he said. "Oh, where did she go?" "Honey, she died," he answered. Since I was the eldest, he explained he didn't want to wake my 2 younger brothers, and he would break the news to them in the morning. Is this a dream? How I wished it was, but I was wide awake. I looked at my clock on my nightstand, and it read 1 o'clock. Throughout the next week, time seemed to stand still as my family grieved. How long before this pain eased? Then one evening, it was a week after Mum's funeral, we were watching TV. We heard the spring squeak on the sofa, and there, in Mum's favourite place, was an indentation in the cushion seat, as if somebody was sitting there. I thought my mind was playing tricks, but my dad and brothers saw it too. Her visit was short, but offered reassurance that we needed. I believe Mum was letting us know she would always be near and always watching over us. Thank you. Do you know, the spirit world, I believe, is far more intelligent than us. God help us if it isn't.
Not difficult, Martha.
But you know, how often do they give us the signs around us? And how often do we not even notice them? Do we not see them? They're all around us. I'm not saying they want to know every business of our day. I'm quite sure they don't come to the bathroom. I hope they don't. But, you know, the spirit world give us signs of our loved ones all the time. And most of the time we're so busy and going here, there and everywhere, we don't even notice. We just miss them. You don't need a medium to tell you your loved ones are there. This is only to give you confirmation of what you already know, because your loved ones are around you all the time. You know, they're here because they love you and they care about you. We were talking yesterday about love. You know, such a small word doesn't sound as if it means much. And I remember when I first went in circle and said to me, You've got to look in the mirror and love the person that's looking back at you. Well, I'm telling you, my mirror's haunted, and so's Laurie's, because I looked in the mirror this morning and the same old lady is looking out at me. And we come to church, and one of our beliefs is we love one another. And this is not just here in this church, it's in all religions across the world. The tenement of the religion is, however you word it, brotherhood of man, love thy neighbour. And it sounds so easy, but it's not, you know. You know, we're human beings. Sometimes the people that we don't gel with most, or that person that's run past us and knocked us flying with their trolley in Tesco's or wherever, or cut us up on the motorway, we don't know what's going on in their lives. Perhaps that person on the motorway was going to hospital because somebody was passing or somebody was being born. We don't know if the person that bashed into us in wherever we do our shopping, their mind is so preoccupied. You know, we've sat here today and we have sent healing out to wherever it may go and allowed Spirit to do that. Why can't we do that with love? You do not have to like people, you do not have to get on with them. You know, as much as we say we want to love everybody, we are human beings. And for some reason, our energies might not gel. Somebody might have grated us up the wrong way in the past. Or sometimes we have no idea. You don't have to be friends with people. You don't have to like people to send them on their way with love. If you can send healing with that much passion and that much feeling that I could feel in the church during that healing silence, why can't we send love out? If we all gave a little bit of love to the person sat next to us, and then they went out of these doors and gave it to whoever they were passing, do you know, I'm not saying it would make this world perfect, but by golly, it might make it a better place to live in than we've got at the moment. And going back to the reading and the signs as well, that mum come through with love. She gave those people peace of mind. And I think that is the most wonderful gift if you can do that. And you don't have to stand up here and do it. We have some wonderful healers, I know, in this church. But again, it's not always about hands-on. Sometimes it's just about giving somebody your time, giving them an ear, letting them listen. And they don't always want an opinion. They don't always want advice. They just needed that listening ear. And all of that is part of the grand scheme of things. All about the love and the connection we have between all of us and with Spirit. Thank you for listening to me.
Lovely. Thank you, darling. Funny how the themes run through things, isn't it? It always amazes me. We now move on to our piece of music today. To God be the glory. During this time, if you wish to sing along, great. If you just wish to listen to the words, absolutely fine. During this time, Marguerite will be taking the collection for the further work of this your church.
Son, who yielded his life in atonement for sin, and opened the life gate that all may go in.
Before I hand over to the lovely Ayrasha for her demonstration of mediumship today, as we always remind you, please remember this is a three-way conversation. This is from spirit, through spirit, to spirit. So please be part of that conversation. You know, to me, every time we have that evidence, every time we have that communication, and you go, yes, that is them, to me that's a miracle. You know, we're grieving, we're missing people from our physical lives, and just to have that brief communion, that brief support, that brief word of I love you still can mean so much. But in order to facilitate this, we need to be part of that conversation, do we not?
Oh, yes.
And when the medium could come to you, if you could please respond with a yes, a no, or maybe. Yeah, so it's a
Yes. No. Maybe.
well trained. Not like you now, but over to you, my darling.
Yeah, as Lauren said, I don't do Churchill nodding dogs. If you don't speak to me, I move on. It's lovely to be here at Paul, my favourite church, I've got to admit.
So
Not
in
just-
every church.
I do not. I'm very selective where I say things. There's a gentleman sat there and he's got a scarf and... Hello. My lovely, I've got a lady, she's not very tall, she feels like a mum, but she's only about my height, she's only little, but she's quite fiery, and for all her height, she would sort anything out. And if there were problems in the family, she would sort it out. And she wouldn't think twice. And she wouldn't necessarily be diplomatic either. She would say what she had to say, please or offend. And I feel quite a nice energy with this lady, although I feel quite fiery and I feel like I want to be very busy. I want to be doing things. I don't want to sit down. Got lots of things to do around the home and whatever. This very, very much feels like mum to me. Now, I'll say now, so I don't have to say it again, because my gran brought me up for part of my life, I can't always distinguish between mum and grandmother, but this lady does feel like mum. And in fact, I can hear mum now, so that's the lady I've got. Why is she saying to me, I know we shouldn't, what she's putting into my mind is that you need to look after yourself more. Does that make sense? I'm not going to open it right up because that lot over there's nosy and so's Lawrence. But it's almost like she wants you to eat better than you're doing and take better care of yourself. She's saying, I wouldn't have this if I was there. I'd be round there with bowls of stew and steamed puddings and things I can see. Real old-fashioned type of food. But it's almost like she wants to come in and wrap you up in a healing blanket, because she's not saying there's things that are severely wrong, but what she's saying is you need to look after you more. And you've let things, and we all do it, sometimes let things slide a bit. You know, she's saying it's easy to grab a sandwich or something. But there's so much love, she's making me want to come down and hug you and box your ears all at the same time. That's how she's making me feel. But it's about self-care and about looking after you. And she really feels this is important, that you need to do this. She said, we're not ready for you yet, so you've got to be here for a long time yet, so you've got to look after this body that you've got. Yeah, does that all make sense to you, my friend?
It does indeed, thank you.
Right, I'm going to leave her love with you, and I can smell roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, so she's obviously leaving that for you. So please take her love. Now, she's not saying the words, she's not putting the words in my mouth, and I don't think it's something she would have said. But the love is there. The feeling of love is tremendous from this lady. So I'll leave her love and the love of the spirit world with you, sir. And thank you for working with me. Can I come to the lady down there in the wine-coloured top? Yeah, they're good here. They know what they're wearing.
I know.
Most places you go and they're all going.
It's when you go to one at the back and they turn and look at the wall, don't they?
My love, I've got a gentleman. This feels like father-grandfather. Very upright. I feel he would have been in the services. Now, I can't see a uniform at the moment, but what I can see is very shiny shoes, and the creases in his trousers go right up to the waistband. I can see soap going down the creases and the trousers being pressed with brown paper. Does that make any sense to you? Because that's what I'm seeing. And I feel this man wouldn't have necessarily come into something like this. Oh. In fact, he said he thought it was a load of stuff. Yeah. Yes. I was trying to rephrase it without using the words he was giving me. Very nice gentleman, as I say, very upright, very clean shaven. I can smell something like Old Spice or something like that. That, and in fact, I'm sure that's what it is I can smell. And he would have been a gentleman that wouldn't have gone out without being clean shaven and things in the morning. He took a real pride in himself. But I feel this gentleman, he wouldn't always push himself forward. If he had things to say, he would say. If he was asked for an opinion, he would give it. But he wouldn't necessarily step forward and give an opinion without being asked. And I feel a very gentle gentleman, very quiet, very reserved, but at the same time he didn't miss anything that was going on. It's taken me back to a memory in a park with a paddling pool and picnics. Does that make sense to you? Yes. And really fun times, but I know we're going back because how he's showing it to me is like black and white photographs, so I know we're going back, and there must be photographs somewhere of these times in the park. I feel really nice, loving man. Absolutely loves the bones of you, my darling. Absolutely loves you to pieces. I really feel it's almost like Daddy's little girl. That's the feeling he's giving me, Daddy's little girl. Like he'd have walked on hot coals for you, he's telling me. And he's saying it's no different now. He's still there for you. Where's the picture that keeps going on the slide at home? Because I asked him to give me something, and he said, ask about the picture. You straighten it up, you come to church, by the time you go home, it'll be wonky again. And he said, well, I've been trying to let her know I'm around. Okay, so he said, it's nothing else, it's me going round moving things. And I don't know what this picture's of, but he seems to find it quite amusing. Because I don't think it's a particularly small picture. It's not a giant picture, but it's not a tiny one. It's bringing me to your hands, my lovely. It's almost like I want to do a lot of things. I don't know if you knit or do craft work or something, but I want to be doing something with my hands all the time. Does that make sense? I like to sit down and be really busy, and it's almost like a meditation, whatever you're doing while you're doing it. And he said, it's at that time when you are sat down quiet and you're doing whatever you do, that's the time he comes in close, because he likes to watch and see what you're doing. There's no big profound message with this gentleman. There's a lot of love, and as I say, he absolutely loves the bones of you, and he is putting the words in my mouth to say, I do love you. He just wants to come in. He knows he's remembered. He knows he's still talked about and thought about. So he's really just to come in to give you the comfort of saying, hello, I'm here. As I say, there's no big profound message or words of wisdom or anything. It's just come in to say, I do love you and I am there. And I leave his love with you. Thank you. Can I come to the lady over there with the grey thing on? Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not very good on colour. And for some bizarre reason, they won't let me work with my glasses on, which means I can't see nothing from up here very much. Maybe it's just as well.
Notice half the congregation are taking theirs off looking at you, love. Consult my congregation, they're wonderful.
They're a lovely congregation. They're even better because they put up with you.
Right, just get on with the work.
I've got a lady, she's only about 4'10", only little, shorter than me, and that's not difficult. Yes, it is, yes, so. She's bigger around than me. She's got a coverall apron on. Her hair, she would never have worn her hair down. Her hair's pinned up, and it's all neat and tidy. And I want to make pastry. I want to make pastry, and I want to bake, and I want to cook, and I want to feed all these people. And it's almost like it wouldn't matter who came in, she'd feed them. And if there was extras came in, this lady would spread somehow or other she would spread the food around. Yet at the same time, I don't feel there was lots of money with this lady.
Correct.
She just had a genius for working her budget and working things round. I feel a big heart with this lady. I still, other than her size and her build, I can't see any more than that. I can see a tray with a teapot on, but the teapot's got a cosy on it, and it's knitted up in triangles, and it's pulled together at the top with a piece of wool, and there's a hole at the front and the back for the spout and the thing to come out, and it's all on a tray.
Yes.
And she's very fussy about her cups and saucers. There's no mugs. There's no mugs on this table at all. They are proper cups and saucers, and they're quite prettily decorated. I think there's roses or something on them, but there's something quite pretty on the cups and saucers, and they all match. This lady was very particular with what she had, very traditional. She's shown me ironing, because this lady would have ironed things when they were still damp and then aired them again, and I can smell fresh, you know that lovely smell you get when the laundry comes in from the garden, and everything would have been pegged out precisely. But she's saying to me, you don't do that. She said, it's fold it up, stick it in the drawer, shut the drawer on it. And she's laughing when she's saying that, because she said, I realised since I've been over it, you know what, life's too short for all this ironing. There's plenty of other things we could be doing. My lovely, she's bringing me down to your hips. Is it the hips and this part of the back? And she's saying it's quite painful some of the time. She wants me to say that they are sending healing for you from the spirit world. But she's saying you either haven't got an appointment or you haven't tried to go to the doctors.
True.
She said, why are you suffering when it might be easy put rightable?
I just get on with it.
She's saying there's no point in suffering if you don't have to. Go and get something done about it.
Thank you.
Even if it's only something that will ease the pain that you're in. Because she's telling me you're not sleeping either because of the pain. And you're quite uncomfortable a lot of the time.
Yes.
Yes. And she's saying, go and get it sorted. And if they send you away, well, don't go anywhere. You stand there until they do. Yeah? She's very, very proud of you, this lady, because she says, you've really made the best of everything that's gone on and the best of life. And she said you have quite enjoyed good proportions of it. And she's really, really pleased about that. I still don't know what relationship this lady is to you, but I'm going to leave her love with you. And she says, please, just just look after yourself and go and get it looked at.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll leave her love with you. Thank you. And I'll come down to you, my lovely. I don't know if this is you or somebody around you. Where's a baby that's not been born? Pregnancy that's gone back to spirit. It must be somebody close within your circle.
Okay.
I don't feel it is you. I feel it's somebody within close with you.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, I won't pursue that because right. But this is a miscarriage.
Okay.
It's a miscarriage. It's not a stillbirth. It's earlier because all I can see is the golden light. Right, my darling. You've got Nan on Mum's side of the family in spirit, and you would have been quite close to this Nan.
Yeah.
This must be a relative because this Nan has got this baby. It must be a relative because she's.
I think I might know, but I don't really know.
Yeah, but you were quite close to this Nan, and she feels like a real cuddly Nan. The sort that give you, of all things, Maltesers when nobody was looking. Does that make sense? Because it's Maltesers I can see, and it's almost like, never mind them, have a Malteser, it'll make you feel better. That's the sort. Really lovely, lovely lady. She loved flowers, absolutely loved flowers. Not only in the garden, this lady liked flowers in the house as well, in vases. She wasn't very good at arranging them, it was a bit of a plonking, she says, but I liked it. I feel as if I'm going out of her back door. I'm overlooking a park or something at the back of the garden. Does that make sense? And it's quite open, and she likes that. She likes the open space and likes to look out on, and she loves looking at the greenery. She tells me she don't like working in the garden. It's too hard work. She likes to look at it, not work in it. I feel this lady would have knitted a lot and would have loved knitting. And she's showing me herself now. She's sat in an old-fashioned sitting room, and she's got a table beside her, and she's got a cup of tea there, and she's got a knitting, and the ball's in something so that the wool doesn't tangle. She's watching the television. She's talking to you. She's watching what they're doing over there, and she hasn't dropped a stitch with this knitting. She's just carrying on knitting, and she's knitting quite intricate patterns on this. It looks like a square. And what she's saying to me is life's a bit like that. You know, it's lots of patterns and lots of bits put together. And sometimes we really have to look carefully to put the right bits together. I don't want to open this up too much, my darling. It's almost like she's looking at you and saying, when are you going to know you're worth it? Yeah. It's almost like you need to reclaim your own power and be you, and know that you're worth it. Because she said you'll do untold things for other people, and you're very caring towards other people, and you don't mind what you do. If you've got it, you'll give it to them. But she said the only person you're not giving to at the moment is you. Does that make sense? Yeah. And she's saying, come on, you're worth it. And you are someone that needs to look in that mirror in the morning and love that person that's looking back, because you've got so much love to give. But at the same time, no matter how much we give out, we need to keep a little bit for ourselves, because we need to love ourselves. She said there's been a lot going on around you. And it's been quite, I'm not going to, tough, for want of another word. It's almost like she wants to get hold of somebody and bang their heads together. That's what she's saying. If I was there, I'd bang their heads together. She said, you're okay, my darling, I can stop any time you want. She's saying, come on, you're beautiful. You've got a lovely smile. She said, wherever this has all been going on, if it doesn't suit you, darling,
Thank you.
move away. Be with people that do appreciate you. Because somebody's really put you down somewhere.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, and she's saying, no, I'm not having this. You don't deserve this.
Thank you.
But you've got to take your own power back. You've got to believe that you're worth it. Because they certainly do in the spirit world.
Thank you.
Okay? I'll leave her love with you. Thank you for working with me. Don't cry on the furniture because Lawrence worries about rust. There's a lady right at the back in white, I think. My love, I've got a gentleman, but I'm not in this part of the country. I want to go up the country more. Does that make sense to you? Family away. It's not that there's a rift in the family as such, but it feels like there's a big geographical space in the family. This gentleman was a cigarette smoker, and he liked a tabloid newspaper, and he would read the sports pages first and have a little look at the horses. He wouldn't necessarily have a bet, but he sometimes likes to watch it on the telly to see if he was right. Does that make sense to you? I feel this gentleman did like a drink. I'm not saying he was a drinker, but he liked to drink. Maybe. Yeah, he's not showing me bottles, he's just showing me a glass. So, I'm asking him to take the cigarette smoke away because I feel like I'm choking. He's laughing and he's just moved a picture on the wall, wherever he is, and you can see the nicotine on the wall where the picture's been moved. Does that make sense to you? Hmm? Right. Okay. This gentleman does feel like a grandfather rather than a dad. Cigars, not cigarettes, sometimes cigars. Yeah? And they're quite smelly ones. He's saying to me, you feel a bit lost sometimes at the moment. Is that the best way I can put it? And you felt a little bit alone. He's saying you're not alone. The family in spirit are all around you. They are always with you. They are always looking out. They said, when you feel like that, just talk to us. We'll try and give you a sign. It might not be clear, but we'll try and give you a sign. Okay? There's a lot of... I feel this man almost like ruled the family. That's the feeling I'm getting. Yet at the same time, he was quite fair and quite kind with things. He liked peace and harmony in the family. But he's saying you're never alone. That love of the family is always around you. Yeah? He's trying to give me something and I don't know what it is, but it's all painted in bright colours. Colours must be important to you. Bright colours somewhere. I know you're wearing white today, but bright colours somewhere must... There must be something in your home, ornaments or something that are bright coloured, because that's what he's drawing me to. He's saying, just remember we're always there, you're not alone. Just talk to us. And somehow or other, we'll get the answers back to you. Can I leave that with you? Thank you. Thank you for working with me. There's a lady there dressed in black.
Me.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 I've got someone at the moment, but I'm not sure whether they're here or there.
Okay.
It feels like a gentleman, and I feel like my mind's a bit muddled, and sometimes I'm here and sometimes I'm in the spirit world. Does that make sense to you?
Could do. It may be, yeah.
I feel some days I'm okay, but you know, I've come in here now and I'm having a look round and I think, well, yeah, I know you and I know you well, but Maybe yesterday I didn't know you quite so well.
Oh.
Didn't, but his mind feels muddled, as if he's here, part here and part in the spirit.
Not sure.
And I usually get this if somebody's got dementia or Alzheimer's,
Oh no.
but there's definite confusion with this person that I've got.
Okay.
All right, I'll try and work with it. This person is to the side. It's not a husband or a father. This is to the side. This feels like a cousin or an uncle because it feels to one side of you.
Okay.
But you can't take what I'm saying at the moment.
Not totally, not 100%.
Right, okay. Yeah, I can't change it. They won't let me change it. This gentleman is part here and part there.
Okay.
And it almost feels like, if you don't know about it now, and I don't do predictions, and Lawrence might tell me off if I did, but it feels like you will hear about this.
Okay, thank you.
There's somebody very worried about this gentleman because they feel when he's not quite with it as to whether he's frightened or not. Well, he's not.
Oh.
Because
okay.
when he's not, his mind wanders and he's in the spirit world, he can see everything quite clearly and quite remember everything. Because his memory at the moment is quite forgetful as well as not recognising.
Okay.
I'm not going to take this any further because obviously if you can't place the person at the moment, and when I work with spirit, generally I can only see the person I'm meant to go to and I can only see you in the room at the moment. So I'm going to leave that with you, and at least it'll come to light and you'll be able to give that other person the reassurance, and I think that's what this is about, that they're not to worry because that person is okay. But it does feel uncle, cousin, family, but a little bit removed.
Yes.
Okay, I'll leave that
you.
with you in the love of the spirit world with you. Thank you. Barbara, can I come over to you? Now, I know I've met you 2 or 3 times, but I don't know you. Have you got a husband in spirit?
A brick. Likes cake, thank you.
The gentleman I've got is quite... I've only got one. Gentleman I've got is quite smart, quite tidy. He would have come into the churches like this, not necessarily to do anything, but he's making me feel like he's very comfortable in the church.
Yeah, one was a medium.
Right. Very comfortable, because he came in like he'd just come through the door, no problem. All right. He says, well, she doesn't need you to tell her that I'm around because she knows. She knows I'm around. Absolutely a lot of love for you.
Yes.
Absolutely adored you and was very proud to take you out on his arm, he's saying. I feel the support and the love coming from this gentleman is phenomenal. And this is the gentleman I've got. But he's saying, don't close yourself off. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Don't close yourself off. There's still a lot to do, a lot of work to do. And I do believe from the feeling he's given me, he does work with you at
Yes.
times. That's the feeling I'm getting. Don't close yourself off. Leave the doors open, because you might not be able to see it as yet, but there's something else coming in, and they can only do that if you leave the door open.
Thank you.
Okay, can I leave his love with you? He's left you a bouquet of yellow roses, and they're really beautiful with no thorns.
Yeah.
So I'll leave the yellow roses. It must be something significant either in the rose or the colour. And they've got a beautiful scent, the ones he's handing over. But I'll leave his love with you, and thank you for working with
Thank
me.
you. Yellow was his earth colour, yes.
Right, okay. So as long as it makes sense to you.
It does, thank you.
Can I come to the smiley lady in the orange and black stripes? Hello, my lovely. I've got a lady in spirit, but she feels like a friend, and I've got a problem in this part of my body. There's a lot been going on, and I feel I've got very frail, and I'm tired, and by the time I go to Spirit, this is better. I'm pleased to be here. I feel like I've got blisters in my mouth from something, and I can't taste anything. Does that make sense to you? Maybe. But that's how I feel. But it's all, my body's uncomfortable. I've decided I've had enough of this body. I'm quite happy to go to Spirit. But she said, you were always a good friend, and you were always there to listen, and you did what you could. And she's saying, although you're better about things now, you did grieve quite deeply when she went, because you were so close. But she said, I'm still there. I haven't gone anywhere. I am still there. I still watch what you're doing. She likes to come in when you're brushing your hair. So at some time you must have done her hair for her. You must have combed or brushed her hair and put it right for her. Because she said when she comes in, it's when you're brushing your own hair. Because it's a memory. Because she is so grateful for what you did. And she knows all that you did for her. She knows you did from your heart and for no other reason than it was out of the love of your heart. And she is so, so appreciative of that. So much gratitude and so much love for you. She just wants to come in and say, thank you for what you did for me. Okay? And I'm going to leave it there with her love. Thank you. Can I come over to, I think it's Matt, I can't quite say, I know we've only met. Granddad or Dad, that side of the family.
Yeah.
But we're not in Dorset.
No.
I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
And my geography's awful. I can find myself from Exeter to Paul Church. That's the whole sum of it. It's the only place I can find without a sat-nav. But I feel we're not in Devon. I feel very much a man's man. I know my place in the world.
Yeah.
Very traditional.
Yeah.
I feel I expect my dinner on the table when I come in from work.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite like my slippers by the fire as well.
Yeah.
I feel I worked hard all my life, but I didn't live to reap the rewards of it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So flipping infuriated me. I paid all that money in for that pension and I never got it. Does that make sense to you? He's quite indignant about paying all this money in for this pension. I think if he could go and get it back, he would.
Yeah.
What he's saying to me is, last 2 years, you have made quite big changes in your life
Yes.
and where you're going. And he says, thank goodness for that. Because what you're doing now is where you need to be. And where you're going now is your path, not anybody else's. Because it feels like you've been on numerous people's paths with them,
Yeah.
but not on your own path.
Yes.
That's the clearest way I can put it.
Yeah,
He said, it's not, the feeling of love is there, but he would never have said the words. They wouldn't have passed his lips. But what he is saying is, I am so proud of you from where you come from a couple of years ago to where you are now. It's almost like you're two different people. He said, and the person you are now is the person you should be and the person you're growing into now. And whatever you're doing now, you're on the right track for you.
Thank you.
Okay? I'm going to leave his love with you. But he, as I say, he's not giving me the words, just a feeling. It's almost like he's picked a pint up and gone, cheers, son.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Okay? I'll leave his love with you.
Thank you.
And the love of the spirit world. Thank you. We all right for time, Laurie?
Yeah, we've got the infamous time for one more.
Right. Can I come down to the couple at the front? You are a couple, aren't you? No?
She's my church wife.
Now look, I got into trouble over this. I went to a den and put a couple together, and the wife was sat the other side, and I got into. I think I'm more with
We're
the...
good friends. We love each other very much.
I feel I'm more with the gentleman than with the lady. Who played the piano? We're going back a generation, maybe two, but somebody played the piano, not necessarily with music, but somebody played the piano very well.
It's not bringing anything up.
It's an upright, it's not a baby, it's an upright piano. And it's, the one I can see has got a place for the music, and it's got a couple of candlestick holders
Okay,
on
now
it.
you're getting close. Now I know, yes.
Yeah, no. I don't think they ever put candles in it, and this thing was quite well polished,
Yeah.
and it sat in the front room.
Yes.
And there's only one plant in this front room, and it's a big green thing. I don't know what it is, but there's a big green thing on a round table.
Going back, I'm quite a young child, so it's very. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
But all I can see is this big green plant with no flowers on. I don't know what it is. And it's on a round table in front of the window.
It was an aspidistra.
That's the thing. All leaves and no flowers.
Yes.
Spiky thing. Right. I'm not sure who I've got. Every time I ask, they're saying to me it's the one that played the piano. So I don't know whether I've got a lady or a gentleman with me because they're not identifying themselves.
Strange, yeah.
Yeah. Right, where is the papers that have got to be signed? Papers for you,
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah.
There's papers that have got to be signed, and these feel like some sort of legal papers or something like that, or
Yeah.
agreement papers.
Yeah.
The message I'm getting is please read it all properly before you sign it, and make sure you're very clear about what you are signing.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm afraid that's all I've got.
Right.
Okay? So I'll leave the love of this person who I've no idea who they are, but I'll leave the love of the spirit world with you. And just be careful what you're signing. Make sure you've read it through properly.
Thank you.
And thank you for working with me.
Lovely. Thank you, Ayrasha. We now go on to the notices for the week. This coming Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we have our open healing circle. This is a time we can come in within the church, sit in with the confines of the church and its energies, and work and practice in the art of healing, and also receiving healing afterwards from our church healers. That's at 3 p.m. And then in the evening at 7 p.m. we have our open circle. I always stress that this is a meditation circle. This is a time to sit within the church again, sit in that peace, that harmony, for a guided meditation, go on your journeys. It is not a mediumship practice circle whatsoever. After the circle, we have that opportunity to ask any questions or discussions, but it's just your time, which is so important. So that's Wednesday night. That starts at 7, and obviously due to circle conditions, we do need to lock the door at 7. So if you're coming for that, doors are open from 6:30, parking at the front, and as it's an evening, you can park in the dentist also next door. Next Sunday is Mothering Sunday, and we have Darren Orlowski with us to take the service. A few things coming up. Just a little reminder, we are having a coach trip to the Arthur Findlay College on the 29th of April. That is the home. We've seen many, many mediums here over the years who have hold certificates of SNU, so they're DSNU or OSNU or whatever. This is the home of their training. Really busy day, lots of demonstrations, private sittings are available. It is going to be a long day. The coach is leaving at 6 in the morning, and we'll get back to Poole at 8:30 in the evening. So it is a long day, but it's an opportunity to get to Stansted. We also have Sandra Mitchell-Therius with us in 2 weeks. She's down here for a weekend. So on Friday the 24th, she'll be taking an evening of mediumship here in the church. That will start at 7 o'clock. Doors open 6:15. There is a charge of £8 on the door for that evening. On the Saturday, the 25th, she'll be holding a workshop here, and that's about enhancing your link with the spirit world. Now, whether you are a working platform medium or you just sit in the presence of spirit for your own joy and comfort, absolutely fine. We met her last night online. She's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of information there available to share. So that's on Saturday the 25th. That will run from 10 till 4. There is a fee of £35 for that day. That includes a light luncheon and refreshments throughout the day. Sandra will also be here to take our divine service on the Sunday following. So that's the 26th, Sunday the 26th. I think that concludes the notices. I would now like, there are 2 private sittings left with lovely Ayrasha afterwards. So they are at 2:30 and 3 o'clock today, if anybody would like those. Ayrasha, my darling, invite you for the closing prayer.
Space wherever you perceive your God or Spirit to be. Gracious Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we thank you for coming amongst us and drawing close, although we know you're always there. We thank you for all the messages and allowing the 2 worlds to meet. We humbly ask for a safe journey home for each and every one of us. And although we've already done our healing prayer and asked for healing for the world and for the animal kingdom and everybody else, can we ask for healing for ourselves, the people in this room, because it's ourselves that we forget to ask for. And we leave this in your care and your name, which is love. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ayrasha, for your service, and thank you for your company over the weekend too. It's been wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Look, we all woke up this morning, and I'm sure we all had that same thought. It's not grey, it's actually bright. Have a beautiful day. Just get out in nature, get out and enjoy these, these last 7 days of greyness have taught us that days like today are to be celebrated. So go celebrate. Thank you all. Okay.